Hey, this is Anbin from YoPrint. I'm really excited. We're days away from launching V2. We've been making a lot of changes, and I figured I'll make a video on some of the changes that we're doing, and so you guys can get up and running with V2 as quickly as possible. Now, we did our best to keep things as the same as possible, but of course, there's gonna be some differences. But without further ado, here's V2. Let's get started. All right. So this video, I'm just gonna focus on just creating a quote, and then I'll make separate videos on the different aspects of it. So we'll start with creating a quote. So this is the new quote interface. So it's gonna look similar to the old version. So if I go to here, right here, if I just click on plus quote. So this right here, you can see, it's for most part is the same. Now, some of the key differences is that as you can see, the dates have already been filled in over here. But if you notice over here, we did not fill the date in. So some of the feedback that we've gotten is that, hey, I'm sending this quote to my customer. Why is it already due? Right? They haven't agreed to anything, and this is just way too confusing. So to combat that, so we've now made most of the dates optional. So basically, you can fill in the dates when you feel comfortable. Right. Um, so let's get started, right? So we'll start by adding a new customer. So now adding a new customer just stays the same. You can just click plus customer and then add a new customer right away. Now there is some differences between the old UI and the new UI. So uh, I mean, other than the layout, they're about the same. The content is the same. So this should feel really familiar with already with whatever you already know. So I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna go ahead and select the customer. Go ahead and select that, and that will fill out the customer information. Now, the cool thing about this is that previously there will be some edge cases where sometimes when you select it, it doesn't fill in correctly, and the reason was that we were doing a lot of it in a non-deterministic fashion, right? With the new with the sorry, didn't mean to go here. So with the new system, what we're doing is that everything is a lot more deterministic. So this will be 100% successful. So if there was the odd chance that you see that this did not work correctly, this will work correctly now. And usually we've seen some issues when changing customer that sometimes it wouldn't remove the customer correctly. So all of those weird glitches have all been ironed out now. Next is creating a job. Now, so this is how you create the job in the new version. Now, the difference between the old version and the new version is that in the new version, what we'll do is that we'll automatically save the changes. So you can see I've already created the job. This job is already ready to go. Now, with the old version, I'll go ahead and quickly select a customer here. I'll just use the same customer. There we go. There we go. So with the old version, now you can type everything in. And if you accidentally hit refresh, like I have a habit of doing it, those changes are gone. You have to start over, right? But with the new version, because we're auto saving this, if I hit refresh, it's not gone. It's right there, and you can pick up where you left off. So yeah, adding a service still the same. You'll just select service, select the options. I'm gonna go ahead and just say shirt front, add that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and say one color back. We're gonna just leave some internal notes so you can see how that will look like now, and customer notes. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna change the color a little bit. We're gonna purple is a fine color. So yep. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just add the embroidery, 3000 count, left sleeve. All right. So that's how this will look like. Now with the old version, it would have looked something like this, right? So I'm gonna try and mirror the same changes here. So you can get like a apples to apples comparison, right? One color back, and what we did is that we said this was internal notes. I think I bolded this, and then this is customer notes. bold underline, and we're gonna make it purple. There we go. Done. So with the old version, sorry, let me add the embroidery. We're gonna go ahead and 3000 count the sleeve. Yeah. So with the old version, when you add the notes, it's just something like this, and you have to click over to know. But with the new version, we decided to just give you a preview of the notes. So at least you don't have to click to see it, but you can still click to see it, and it's a little bit better. I think, yeah, you can click here and you can copy it. So that works the same way, but with a little bit added clarity on how that works. Yeah. Another thing that you notice here is that you cannot rearrange this. We've received a lot of complaints that is gonna say, hey, I just want to reorder them. And we understand. I like to be organized too. And with V2, we've done just that. So let's say if I want to move embroidery to the top, I can go ahead and do that. I can move it to the top. But over here, I can't do that. Adding a task. Now, adding a task is also pretty straightforward. So I can just say purchasing and receiving. Go ahead and then I'll go ahead and add screen printing, add embroidery, and then I will add. So, and I'll mirror the same changes over here. So purchasing and screen printing and embroidery, and then packing. All right, very cool. So some of the key differences between here and here is that the dates here were mandatory, so you have to set the dates on, even if you're not ready to set the dates. The new version, the dates are optional. Now these dates would be set automatically if you've already set the production start and due date. But you'll always have the option to say, for example, let me go ahead and select the date, right? So let's say it's gonna take, apply that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and save that. So the dates have been saved. Now, if I change my mind, it's like you can just say, hey, we're gonna remove the date for now, figure it out later. So those are now possible. And the other thing that is possible is that there's no way to assign this to anyone, right? So the new version, oh, didn't mean to drag that. We're gonna leave that. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and do that again. Well, why don't we start with that? You can now rearrange the task. Previously, you cannot rearrange the task, but now you can. Now, this is also another issue that we get. Like, hey, I just want to change the order. Such a simple thing, but it's a lot difficult on the back end. But we finally figured it out, and we're ready to roll this out for you. And also, earlier on, I talked about not being able to assign to someone. With the new version, you can assign to someone right away. So I can just say, no idea who Federico is, but we're going to go ahead and assign this to myself. Oh, and the other cool thing is that when you add a task, you can actually assign when you add a task as well. Prior to this, that is actually not possible. So you had to add it first and then assign, which I'm going to be honest, it's terrible. We fixed it now, so this should be a lot more streamlined. And again, all of these changes are being auto-saved. So if I hit cancel, if I open it again, they're all there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to hit refresh. So that way we're fetching brand new data. You can see it for yourself. That actually works now. There we go. Now, uploading files. So we're going to go ahead and use the old version to upload the files real quick. I'm going to go ahead and get the files. Here we go. Upload it right here. Upload. And then once uploaded, you can select the location. So left sleeve, back, and then front, right? With a new version, it's similar experience. It's a little bit more pizzazz, I suppose. But yeah, just a little bit more cleaned up UI. Upload it. And once again, we're going to go ahead and say left sleeve, back, and then front. And just for comparison, they're identical. The zooming in is a little bit different now. Here you can't zoom in, but we now have an ability to zoom in. Just check, make sure everything is correct. You can also go full screen, right? This is another thing that we're trying to roll out in the software. All dialogues will eventually become full screen capable. So you can If you're on a tiny screen, if you're on a laptop, this will be really good to have. So we're going to go ahead and close that. Right. So production file, same as before. You'll just upload the file. I have a couple of files here. We're going to go ahead and upload it. Ta-da. And then we're going to select it, or we can leave it blank. So that much hasn't changed. There we go. So yeah, identical. And this one still has the zoom in capabilities. This one does not. Production notes. So we're gonna go with production notes again. We're just gonna use my tagline right here. This is a reminder for myself as it is for as much as it is for my staff. We're gonna go ahead and make it colored right here, bright red, so nobody can miss it. Right there. So we're gonna do the same here. I'm gonna go ahead and add a note. Oh. And right off the bat, you'll see that we actually have a little bit more wider box. So you can have a little bit more room. And while recording this video, I realized that we could make this dialog a little bit bigger. So I'll work on that after this recording. So yeah, so the notes are there. And finally, to mark it as a rush job, straightforward, checkbox. So very familiar there. Here you're gonna say create. Over here you're just gonna say, cancel. We're done with that. I'm gonna close that up. So this is how it used to look like. So it's again more of the same, the custom fee, everything here. But with the new version, what we've done is that we're actually putting buttons at the bottom. So one of the feedback that we got is that, yes, Anbin, this is really great. If I had like 2 line items, I had 10 line items, I have to scroll up, scroll down, scroll up, scroll down. So now you don't have to do that. We put it at the bottom here. So you could just go ahead and access the same functionality at the bottom of the list. So that way you're not scrolling up and down. All right, cool. So adding a line item. We're going to show the old version how it's done. So we're going to go ahead and do Gildan 5000. Everybody loves Gildan 5000. And then I'm going to do Carolina Blue. No, yeah, let's do Carolina Blue. Sure, why not? And then we're going to go ahead and select size S, hit apply. We're going to duplicate size M and then size L right here. Okay. Now, again, for the new version, we're exploring a new way of doing things. So we're going to hit plus product right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just say 5,000 right here. And then, yeah, so we're pulling it up in a dialog. So you'll select the product. And then you're going to go ahead and select the color. And then what we're going to do is we're going to show you all the sizes. So you can add them at one go. All the warehouse availability from Sandmar, we fetch it right away and we show it right away. And I chose Sandmar because I pulled this from Sandmar. This will work the same way with Alpha and SNS. Right. And then I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to add one small, one medium, and then one large. And then we're going to just use the case price for this. And for customer supplied, we've moved it up here. So previously, customer supplied is this field called provided. And you'll have to type Gildan 5000 right here. Let's just say this is size XL. And then what it does is that customer provided is understood that the customer is shipping you the blanks, so you cannot charge them for the blanks. But you still want to charge your service charge, right? With the new version, and one of the common feedback is that, why can't I just say that these are customer provided, right? We're like, yeah, you can kind of work around. You can just create a new pricing group that will give 100% discount on the garment. And at the end of the day, it is a workaround. It's not like a proper solution. So with the new version, we wanted to address this properly. So now we have a supplied option. So let's say if this XL is supplied, right here, I can just say mark it as supplied. Supply here means customer supplied. And then we can go ahead and just say add and close. Now you can also do add and keep open. And what that will do is that adds this, and then you can quickly change to a different color, add the different color. So you can quickly add the products without closing the dialog. So I'm going to go ahead and say add and close. So that adds it. And then you will see this would be customer supply right here. So you can see how it behaved the same way, except this time you get to use the catalog and you don't have to do a whole bunch of typing. So, and then the check mark here tells you that this has been customer provided. Awesome. So yeah, so that's the new way. We think the new way is a lot better, and it's a lot more in line with user expectation. And we would like to hear how feedback on how this worked out for you. Now, another issue that we always get is that, hey, I mean, I get that we're adding Carolina Blue, adding sizes, but I want to put a note here so the customer can see and understand what's this about, right? But unfortunately, for the V1, there's no way to add a note. Now, you could probably tuck it in the production notes, but that's not visible to the customer. So that option is right off the bat doesn't work. So your only option would be add a customer note in services, or maybe add a notes on the order level. Again, all of this, is sidestepping the issue. With the new version, you can just click on this drawer here and then just add a note. So, for example, we're gonna say, I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna say this one is for you. Right? We're gonna go ahead and do that, and yeah, so that will be safe. So then now this will now show up in all the places. No, perfect. And then right, check vendor stock or pricing is right here, and that is similar to this. Check vendor stock or pricing, similar functionality, works the same way, but except we move the vendor stock from hover over to inline. So that way, you're not moving. Now, I don't know about you guys. I use my mouse a lot, and my doctor said not to do that. So I'm hoping that this will reduce some of your wrist motions. Awesome. So we're gonna leave this here. Cancel. And next is shipment. So the new version, with the old version, we'll add this real quick. Okay, we're gonna add a simple fee here. I'm just gonna say simple fee, and I think you already know where I'm going with this, but we're gonna go ahead and do that real quick. I'm gonna just say simple fee, and it's gonna be $10. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and close. There we go. So with the old version, you have to pack everything in a shipment. That includes fee. So I can come here and I say, if it's a pickup order, you have to say it's a pickup order. If it's a shipped out, you have to say it's shipped out. Now, and you have to pack everything into a shipment. And again, for some bizarre reason, you also specify your tax right here and your discount percentage right here. This makes so much sense, right? Well, when we originally designed it, what we were doing is that we want to do something really smart. But the idea is that, why don't we take a step away from you? Why don't we use the shipment to automatically manage your invoice for you? So the shipment, it should be shipment/invoice, and you put in everything here, and we can then generate the shipment, generate the invoice, and generate the packing slip. We're going to do all kind of smart stuff. Now, the problem with this approach is that it doesn't account for all the use cases that people are using YoPrint for, and it doesn't help the fact that no one can intuitively understand what we're doing. This is one of the things that we have to explain to everyone who's using the software so they can get it. So that just means that we fundamentally made a wrong assumption here. So with the new version, we've taken shipment and invoice out as a separate thing. And the other feedback that we usually get is that, so we're going to go ahead and remove the shipment real quick here. Why can't I publish it, right? Oh, because you don't have a shipment. So it's a requirement that is so important that we mention it twice to you, right? So, and that is also another pain point for a lot of users. Like, not only you have to pack fees into shipment, you have to have a shipment, and you have to put tax and discount into shipment before you even do anything. Now, if this is a quote and your customer isn't even sure what they want, it just adds extra layers, right? So that's a whole bunch of frustration. So with a new version, you don't need a shipment. You don't need an invoice. You can create it. So to prove that point, I'm going to create this real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and create this. As you can see, we don't have a shipment. We don't have an invoice here. And over here, we have both shipment and invoice. Invoice being automatically generated for you. Please give me 1 second. I need to caffeinate myself. All right. So going on. So if you look at the shipment, fees are there, and the invoice is right here. Now, this is also another question that we get. Hey, it's a quote. Why do I have an invoice, right? The customer hasn't agreed to pay anything yet, and all of a sudden we have an invoice. Now, this for vast majority of businesses using YoPrint, this might not be that big of a deal because a lot of times you're dealing with other businesses, and they're like they understand softwares have quirks. It may not work, and then if you just tell them like, hey, John, look at this. I know there's an invoice. Can't do anything about it because YoPrint decided they have to have an invoice for quote. Please ignore it, and they'll be good to go. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't fly for bigger organization like schools, right? You can't tell them like, hey, school, can you ignore invoice? They're like, I don't understand. There's an invoice. I must pay this. You've created an invoice, right? So that's a lot of hurdle with the new version, and that's why we made the invoice optional. So I'm going to start with shipment first, show how that works. So I can go here. I can add a shipment right here. Now, once again, we're taking this autosave mechanism to all the options here. So as you can see, the shipment has already been created right here. So we can close it and we'll put a say that, hey, the shipment doesn't have, it's incomplete. You need to complete it. So that way you can continue working on it without having to fill everything up at one go. Now, if you want to add a shipment here, you need to go to Quick Actions Edit to do it, but I will touch the edit in a little bit. So over here, I can say, if it's for a pickup, you can do pickup. I'm going to say it's for shippo. We're going to ship it to this address, and it's going to be shipped to Anbin here. So that's another information that we'll get. Hey, like, I understand that we're shipping this out, but we need a name and a phone number on the shipment, right? So we solved that with this. We call it receiver contact, so you can add a shipment and phone number. Now, before this, what we've done is that if this is a drop shipping order, you'll have to set the drop shipping option for the whole order. Now, again, for the vast majority of the use case, that's sufficient, right? But sometimes, what if a portion of this will be drop shipped, but a portion of it goes to the shop? So, for example, let's say you printed a bunch of soft proofs, you ship it to the shop, and that does not need to be white label, that does not need to be drop shipped. And then they look at it and then they say, all right, go ahead. And then you drop ship it to the intended target, right? So with that in mind, we've moved the brand profiles, as we call it, to here. So if it needs a drop shipping order, you just do it here. If it's not, you should be able to remove it. So we'll go ahead and add that post release. So that's not a problem. And then packed by, this is something that has been always there, so you can track who packed the shipment. It's more for like, let's say something happened and say, hey, who packed the shipment, right? Information is right there. Again, all of this is optional. Next is adding line items. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly go into the edit mode to show you how we had that UI previously. So previously you had to have a checkbox, and then you'll have to click on the checkbox. And in fact, let's say if I had 2 right here, you can just say 1. So it's a little bit not intuitive. Like sometimes you'll do that, and then you might forget that you didn't add anything. With a new version, what we've done is that you'll now just have to add it all. So you can add them individually. So that should have been automatically 1. So I can add that individually. Or I could also bulk add these 2. I can just say add selected. Or my all-time favorite, so we're going to go ahead and just remove that real quick. Again, all of this is being saved real time, right? Add all. So add all just quickly adds it. Now, once you add the line items, you can add any shipping costs you have. So we'll just record the shipping costs associated with this. Now, this doesn't mean it gets invoiced to the customer. You can choose to invoice it, you can choose not to invoice it, but this is there for your own tracking purposes. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and just delete that. And again, you can see our description field in action right here. Awesome. And again, you can drag and drop and rearrange this. This is also something new with the new with this version. Prior to this, you cannot do that. We infer this based on this, and we assume they're going to be the same. With the new version, is that you can move things around. Sometimes it just makes sense to do that. So we're going to go ahead and allow you to do that now. And edit internal notes is the same as before. Delivery notes is the same. So we're going to hit cancel. And that has been created. Like so. So once created, this is how it's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and just say delete draft where you don't want the draft here. And we're going to go ahead and just double click on that. Old version, new version. So that should be really familiar. And best of all, no fees in this shipment. Cool. And if you want to edit a shipment, there's no longer an edit mode. So you don't have to go to quick actions, edit order, create a draft, and do it. Now, the motivation behind the edit mode was simple. The idea is that you can safely make changes that affects pricing without your customer, if they're in the customer portal without them finding about it. With a new version, we realized that while the intention is really good, but it is just causes more confusion in edge cases. So, for example, let's say I click edit order. It creates a draft. Now, let's say I delete this and then I hit cancel. I go back here. I'm like, cool, right? Now, if I do quick actions, edit order, you notice that, oh, there's already a draft. I'm going to resume it, right? And then you realize that we need to increase the quantity. And then it's like, wasn't there a fee here? What happened to the fee? Well, what happened is that previously you clicked the draft. You were just playing with it, trying to figure it out. And then you forgot about it and moved on. And now that you come back, it's just confusing, right? There's no indication here saying that what's changed and things like that. So overall, we find that a lot of bugs happen from here. Now, for the most part, users have figured out this quirk and worked around it. But this is again one of those things that we have to explain to almost everyone how it works, why it works, and why it's weird. So with the new version, we have a new feature called Live Edit. You can just click on Live Edit and just edit that shipment right away. So for example, this is not meant to be shipped. You can take it out, cancel, and you're good to go. And maybe you want to ship it later. So you can just go ahead and add shipment. And then you say that's one item that they're going to pick it up. They're going to pick it up from our Seattle location. And that's not going to be white labeled. We're going to not pack it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add all. And done, we're going to hit cancel. So that's how you create a shipment. Before this, you have to go into edit. Now, there's a danger to the edit mode too. Now, if you've changed your pricing, every time you go into edit mode, we will recalculate the price for everything. With a new version, we're a lot more intelligent in when we recalculate the price. So for example, adding a shipment does not trigger a price calculation. It just makes a record saying that you've added a shipment. And if you added a shipping charge, we'll make a record of it. So I'll go ahead and add a shipping charge right here. We're going to live edit this. Here. Now, that's a shipping cost that we've recorded. Now, when you want to change something that affects pricing, you'll have to go into a different kind of edit mode. So we will only recalculate the pricing if you go to live edit line items and then make changes here. Then we will use your new pricing matrix, recalculate the price. So that was also another feedback that we used to get. It's like, hey, why did my price change? Right? That shouldn't have happened. So this is how we decided to prevent that. And this is how you also edit the new line. All right, so for invoices, you can now manually create the invoice when you're ready to invoice the customer. Now, A lot of times the question that we get is that, hey, I mean, I already touched this earlier, like why I want to be able to generate the invoice when I want to. That's one. Number two is that I don't like the way you guys generate the invoice. I want to make changes to it. How can I do that? The answer is no. You can't change it. The only thing you can change is the ID, and that's it, right? It's not a good answer, right? And YoPrint is all about, you know, trying to do the smart things, but always giving you the manual override, right? So this is our manual override for invoices now. So we're going to add an invoice that creates the invoice, same with the auto save and everything. Now over here, you can see the issue date for the invoice. So now the invoice have its own issue date, uh, and uh, and the tax calculation here. Now for the tax calculation, we actually did something a little bit different too. So we're gonna go ahead and edit the shipment to change the taxes. We're gonna go here. So prior to this, the tax works like this, right? You can go ahead and um, select the presets or do auto tax will calculate it, or you can just change the percentage manually. But the new way of doing things is that you won't be able to change the tax percentage manually. So, and the reason why we did that is because, you know, it helps us to sync to QuickBooks better. So now you can go ahead and, you know, same thing, select the tax. It's, well, let's go ahead and add the line items first. So I'm going to go ahead and add this line items real quick. So that's a 10% sales tax right there, 4.72. And if I do auto tax, I think it's because the customer is tax exempt, or I'm shipping. Maybe I need to change the shipping address. Just give me 1 second, please. Where is it? Where am I shipping it out from? Seattle. So that's right. It's out of state. So let's make it in state. So we're gonna go ahead and live edit that invoice. And I'm gonna be honest. I am a huge fan of the live edit feature. So we're gonna go ahead and just say Seattle address. And then let's see, 2550 Seattle. Maybe that will work. I'm gonna use a shipping address, build to ship to, and then the automatic tax calculated at 10.6%. So yeah, so our auto tax is there. Now, if you want to add a different amount manually, so you have to go ahead and create a new tax. And we will touch base about this later, but yeah, that's how you'll do it. But with the new version, what we've done is that we've also added a new thing called manual tax amount. Now, before this, we received sometimes our calculation. People were not a fan of how we calculate the tax, and they're like, "Can I just key in the number manually, right? Can I just? I know I need to charge $4. Can I just put $4?" The answer was no. With V1. With V2, yes, you can charge $4 in tax. If that's what you want to do, you can go ahead and do that. Now, speaking about not a big fan of how we calculate our taxes, so we're gonna go ahead and do something fun here. I'm gonna say I'm pretty sure it's NYC that had this tax 6.725 right here. Now this is a 6.725 percentage, and then we have $10 fee, we have $5. We're gonna keep this the same, right? All right, we're gonna do the same here. We're gonna remove that. All right, and then I'm gonna just double check. Was it what was it calculated at? 6.725. So we're gonna go ahead and just say 6.725 here, and the calculated tax is $2.83. But the calculated tax here is $2.84. It's $10, 1072, 1072. And the reason for that is that in V1, we allowed you to specify taxes on a line item level. So each line item can have its own tax percentage, and then they'll have to round it. So what we do is we were rounding up on a line item level. When we sum it up, it's usually a couple of cents short or a couple of cents more, right? Now with the new version, we decided to do away with this error with just charging tax on the whole invoice. Typically, every invoice that we get, that's usually how the tax are made. And with the option to say whether the line item is taxable. So it's usually the 99% scenario is simply that it's going to be 10%, but these items are tax free. So those will be tax exempt. Right? So with the new UI, we address those scenarios. Again, we lost some flexibility here, but it does allow us to calculate the tax more accurately. And then when we sync to QuickBooks, the numbers will match up. Awesome. Now, brilliant. So, oh, so that's our new invoice system. I'm going to go ahead and just add this here. And then discounts. So early on, we had one level of discount. You can give a 10% discount, which we're going to calculate for 21, or $10 discount. But that's it. Now, usually we get like, it's amazing that your software allows, people to give people discount, but it would be even more amazing if we can explain what the discount was. So a lot of times, yes, it's $100 discount on your order, but for what? So again, the amazing bit is just a joke. So with the new version, you can just say percentage amount. You can say this is, loyalty discount. We're going to just say this is a loyalty discount. Because you've been such a good customer, we're going to give you 10%, right? And then you can also further add notes to it, right? This is only for you, all right? So we're going to add a note there. So that's 10% discount that should have been calculated there. I'm going to fix that calculation in a little bit. But yeah, the 10% discount. I can also add a second discount. Isn't that great? You get multiple discounts. So this time it's value discount. I'm just gonna say, Merry Christmas, right? Christmas sale. Christmas discount. Right. For Christmas, we're gonna give everybody $5 off on the order. Because we're generous like that. And then once again, Merry Christmas. We're gonna just put that as a note. Cool. So it's supposed to calculate 10% and then 5%. I think this calculation is a little off, but we're going to go ahead and publish this. That's done. So we're going to see the published version of this. And then the discount needs to be, that's why the discount was not saved. We're going to find out why that isn't the case. We did not save the change. That's what it was. I'm going to find out why that happened and then I'm going to fix that. But overall, it's there. So it's a 10%, which was, we're going to go ahead and just quickly zero this out real quick. 10% discount on the order should be $4.716. I think I must have done something with the tax preset. I think what I did is that I marked oh no, that I am so sorry. My math is off. $4.72 is correct. All right. So we're going to add $5 to it. That's $9.72. That's the expected discount. Done. We're going to go ahead and do that. And then there we go. That's how you can issue multiple discount. The notes are there for your customers. And yeah. So that's how you create a new quote. A quote in our V2. And see you in the next video.